Hello, this is Landon Whitworth on autism spectrum disorders. I'm going to be talking about those today. So, what autism is, the legal definition, according to the legal framework, autism means a developmental disability significantly affecting verbal communication, nonverbal communication, and social interaction. Some other characteristics often associated with autism are engagement in repetitive activities and stereotype movements, resistance to environmental change or change in daily routines, and unusual responses to sensory experiences. The characteristics of autism are generally evident before age 3, but the child who manifests the characteristics after age 3 could be identified as having autism if the eligibility criteria are satisfied. Autism does not apply if the child's educational performance is adversely affected, primarily because the child is being diagnosed with another emotional disturbance. So, autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder which children appear on a spectrum of many different symptoms. Typically, autism occurs as discomfort and physical affection, not making eye contact, late language development, overreactivity to sensory input, perseveration, echolalia, and other related symptoms. Often, individuals with autism also process information differently, saying things often in more literal ways. Many individuals with autism who function well see in ways that may be beneficial, or in certain circumstances, seeing mental images vividly or having math processes make sense easily. Some individuals with autism process so differently that they may be able to develop distinct, amazing abilities. These individuals with severe autism and certain special gift are often called savants. These are wonderful abilities, such as being able to recall pieces of music after one listen, or being able to name a date on a calendar up to 500 days in the future, but often individuals with savant-like qualities also have significant deficits. Many times these deficits will be language, social, and daily functioning sorts of problems, and so if an individual is impaired enough by their autism, they may not be able to live independently despite these special gifts that they have. Some individuals with autism do process so differently that they are able to develop these. So some individuals with autism also may develop an intellectual disability, and it's really just kind of up in the air as to whether they are really far down the spectrum to where it is an intellectual disability, or really far or really high functioning. It's also a social functioning disease in which a lot of times there are social deficits. And it is a high prevalence disorder. So, what causes autism? The etiology of ASD is not known. Many people think that it may be caused by toxins introduced, like by lead or mercury, though food or other exposure to these through food or other exposure to these during pregnancy. Others think that it's a neurological deformity, and still others support the idea of neurodiversity and say that autism is a normal evolution and adaptation of the human genome. And the human genome is experimenting with new ways of thinking in order to ensure survival. And these ways of thinking are useful and helpful to our society. There may be any number of other genetic, environmental, or other causes for this disorder, which are which are primarily emotional and social. But to begin, let's start with his physical need. So George, like we stated earlier, overreacts to loud noises and isn't able to filter out distractions well. So currently what we're doing is we're using noise-canceling headphones during lunch and tests in order to accommodate George's needs in this specific circumstance. He also has difficulty communicating, and his fixation on Pokemon games makes it difficult for others to relate to him. And so our current adaptation for that is to be able to have him meet with an aide every other day to work on social skills. And then his emotional needs are that he needs safe friendships where he's able to talk about his fixation with others who understand his feelings. Our current adaptation is also a special education class every other day. So, some evidence-based practices that we are using in the classroom, the first of which is cognitive intervention, in which the aide teaches George to be aware of his emotions and use strategies to calm himself down when these emotions of anxiety and anger are surfacing. George is also taught to use different words to change the way he thinks about certain situations in this practice. The second is that of scripting, which is an antecedent-based intervention where the special education teacher manipulates the antecedent to get a conditioned response. It's based off of Skinner's work of operant conditioning and behaviorism. In scripting, the aide and George work together to write a script, and then that script is used as a prompt for George to improve in social situations. And then the final one is pivotal response training, and which is based in applied behavioral analysis. This helps George create foundations for independence by training him for pivotal moments. The main focus with George on this activity is that of self-management. So thank you so much for watching today. It's been awesome to be able to put this together and learn more about autism spectrum disorder, and I hope you learned something. Thanks so much. Bye.